Hi, hello everyone. So today we'll discuss about quicksort algorithm, which is one of the fastest sorting algorithm available presently. So previously we have been discussing about some of the slow sorting algorithms like insertion sort, selection sort, etc. Then we have seen fast sorting algorithm, namely merge sort algorithm, which in the worst case, average case, etc. It was taking order of n log n time. But the additional problem there was it was taking order of n space complexity. It was not an in-place sorting algorithm. So an alternative to merge sort is another algorithm known as quicksort, which is working in a different way compared to merge sort. Here the method used is the partitioning logic. Quicksort on an average, or in the worst case, it will be taking order of n log n time. In the worst case, it is taking order of n square time. But here the time space complexity is constant. It's an in-place sorting algorithm. The worst case running time is almost always be avoided by a randomized quicksort algorithm. The sort function, which is given by most of the programming language libraries, are implementations of quicksort or randomized quicksort. So the quicksort is one of the most popular and most implemented uh, sorting algorithm presently. So in the worst case, quicksort is going to perform in order of n square time. Average case or best case, quicksort can be done in order of n log n time, and the worst case can also be avoided by using randomization methods. Let's take an example list of integers in the form of an array. We have taken 8 integers with indices 0 to 7, 7, 2, 1, 6, 8, 5, 3, and 4. If you sort it, you will get it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We want to sort this array in the increasing order of value of integers. So this is the output expected. Here the logic applied is the partitioning logic. So initially we select a pivot element, a special element called pivot element, which can be any element in the array. But for the sake of simplicity, we take the pivot element as the last element. In this case, it is 4. Now we rearrange the list in such a way that all the elements that is less than the pivot element, that is less than 4, is stored in a sub list which is in the left hand side, and all the element greater than the pivot element, that is greater than 4, is stored in the right hand side of the array. And this partitioning is happening in place, that is in the same original array. We are not using any additional storage space like merge sort. So we take a pivot element, let's say the pivot element is 4. So all the elements which is less than the pivot element, that is 2, 1, and 3, it should go to one part. And all the elements which are greater than the pivot element, 7, 6, 8, and 5, will go to the right hand side. So if you partition this, it will look like this. So at the end of the day, once you do the partition, the element which we have taken as a pivot element will reach its appropriate position. That is, in this case, the pivot element should reach the third position. Then the pivot element need not be considered, or the pivot element that we have considered once will reach its appropriate position. So next time onwards, we consider this part, that is 213, as one partition, and 8576 as the another partition. We don't consider this because this is already in its correct appropriate position. So once we had partitioned the array like this, we can break this problem into two sub problems. Here we are going to utilize the advantages of recursion. So the array is partitioned into two sub arrays. One sub array contains elements 2, 1, 3, and the second sub array contains 8, 5, 7, and 6. 4 will not be considered again because 4 is its appropriate position. So now what need to do is we need to sort the subarray 2, 1, 3, and we need to sort the right hand side subarray 8, 5, 7, and 6. We can use the same logic or same method. We apply the same partitioning logic again and break the problem even further. That is, for example, let's say we are going to apply the partitioning logic again to this left hand side subarray. So we select a pivot element. Let's say we have taken the last element as a pivot element. In this case, it is 3. What we do is we partition that array again such that all the elements which is less than the pivot element, that is 2 and 1, are going to the left hand side, and all the elements greater than the pivot element will go to the right hand side. In this case, there is no element greater than the pivot element, that is greater than 3 available. 3 is the largest element in this list, in this sub list, the left hand side sub list. So this problem will actually break down to only one sub problem, and this is how it will look like. So next time onwards, 3 will not be considered, only 2 and 1 will be there in the left hand side. In the right hand side, array is empty. So once again, you apply the same logic, choose the rightmost element as the pivot. In this case, it is 1, and we actually will have only one sub problem to solve. So all the elements less than 1 will go to the left hand side. All the elements greater than 1 will go to the right hand side. So 2 will go to the right hand side. There is no element less than 1 here. So there is the left hand side array is, left hand side sub array is empty. So it will be like this. So our next entry is, we'll have only one sub problem to solve. So you select this as the pivot element, and that itself will be the sorted arrangement, or this will be its appropriate position. So 2 will be at its appropriate position at position 1, and 1 will be at its appropriate position, which is previously we have told that all the elements greater than 1 will go to the right hand side. So 1, 2 will be here, and this is already in the right hand side 3, and 4 is already in the right hand side, so which is greater than. So at the end of the day, it will look like this. We had this subarray 2, 1, 3. At one point of time, we have taken this as the pivot element, so this will be at its appropriate position. At some other point of time, you've taken 1 as the pivot element, so 1 will be shifted here, 2 will be shifted this side. So 1 is at 0th position, 2 will be at position 1. Now 2 will be its correct position. So the sorted arrangement will be 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is already in its correct position. So here the rearrangements are happening in the original list itself. Only one element in the list is the base condition to stop recursion. So at this point, it will stop recursion and it will go back. And this list is already complete because this is already completed. Now this is also the element 2 is also considered here. So this list is completed. Here only this element was need to be considered. So this is also, this recursion is also complete. Once we go back here, the recursion stops, and we say that the elements at 0, 1, 2, and 0 and 1, 0, 1, and 2 are in the sorted order, and at the position 3 is already in the appropriate position. So the elements from 1 to 4 are in sorted order. Now what we have left with is the right hand side array. You can apply the same logic, that is, we will select the element 6 as the pivot element, and all the elements less than pivot will go to the left hand side, all the elements greater than 6 will go to the right hand side. So 5 will be one list, 8 and 7 will be the second list. Now if you consider 5, only one element is there in the list, so that will be considered. So 5 and 6 at its correct position. Now the second list is 8 and 7, so say you consider 7 as the pivot element. So 7 and 8 will be swapped, and 7 will be at this position, sixth position, and you divide the array, 8 will be its correct position. So after the recursion, once the recursion to this list is complete, you will get this arrangement 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the idea is this: you select a pivot element. Initially it was 4. Once the pivot element is selected, you divide the problem into 2 and sort these problems, sort these two subproblems separately. Separately in the sense, you'll be applying the same partition logic again and again, once till we reach the base condition. Once you reach the base condition, the recursion will roll back, and once the recursion, all the recursion to this problem are complete, the elements will be in the sorted order. This is the quicksort algorithm. It's a very simple algorithm. Only thing is that there are two recursion calls to the quicksort algorithm itself. So here we are passing the array A. This is the initial array, and we'll be passing a start pointer and an end pointer. Initially the start value will be 0 and end will be 7, the first and last index in the array. Now we apply the partition logic. We'll explain partition logic later. So partition will logic partition algorithm will return an index which is the correct position of the pivot element selected. So partitioning is nothing but you select the pivot element, you partition it into two parts. So pi is the position of this pivot element. So from start to pi minus 1, 0, 1, 0 to 2 is the first entry or first sub problem. Then pi plus 1 to end is the second problem. You call the quicksort algorithm again, that's it. Quicksort algorithm, A initial value is start and the end point is pi minus 1, that is 0 and 2. Here the quicksort algorithm is called on the right hand side, that is pi plus 1, 4 and end 8. So this recursion will go back and do the partitioning again. This just now we have explained with this example. So here one thing we need to add is the base condition. So the base condition is this: if start at any point, if start is less than end, then we'll have to roll back and we need to stop recursion, or this code will be executed only if the start is less than end. So at some point of time, if there is only one element in the list, then the recursion should roll back and recursion should stop, and that is this termination condition of the recursion. Now let's explain the partition logic. This we have explained in the with the help of an example. Just select a pivot element. We can select any element, but for the sake of simplicity, we select the last element a of n as the pivot element, and initially we set the pi, that is the correct position of the pivot element, as the start point, start value itself, that is 0 itself. Then you compare each value, that is a of I, each element with the pivot element, and if the element is less than the pivot element, you swap a of I with a of pi. For example, in this case, uh, this was the entry, a of I is 0 and a of pi is also 0, so there will not be any change. Now pi will be incremented, a of I and pivot element is compared, then also there is no change, and so on. So if at any point, if the element at a of I is less than the pivot element, then that need to be pushed towards the left hand side, that is this swap, and increment p of I. So by incrementing p of I, we are trying to identify the correct position of the pivot element. And once you reach the correct position of the pivot element, you are swapping a of pi and a of n. Initially the pivot element was at this position, the last position, then you swap that to this position. That is what the partition logic is. Once you have this partition, two partitions, you can apply quicksort algorithm on these two partitions separately. There also the same partition logic will be applied and the same process. So that's about quicksort. Quicksort algorithm is very simple. We need to apply partition logic, then two quicksort algorithms in as recursive calls. Then the analysis of quicksort algorithm. In the worst case, quicksort algorithm is going to take order of n square time. Average case and best case, the algorithm is going to take order of n log n time. Quicksort is not going to take any additional space. The space complexity of quicksort algorithm is constant, and quicksort is not a stable sorting algorithm because there will be uh, some of the swapping happens here, and because of that there will not the quicksort algorithm, we cannot say that it's a stable sorting algorithm. It's an internal sort algorithm and it's a recursive algorithm. We'll explain its time complexity analysis later. Thank you.